Mark's Family Ministries, including social media and blog posts. And we need our leaders praying that they will see students the way Jesus sees them. So we just really want you to be actively praying, and that we are definitely here. We have a group of leaders that have told us they just want to be prayer warriors for us, and so they'll be praying for you on Wednesday nights and Sunday afternoons, and so bring those prayer requests to us for specific group needs or students in your groups so that we can do all of that. And you'll talk a little bit more about social media here in a little bit.
Yes. So the next thing we're going to talk about are your roles as leaders. And a lot of the things I'm going to be saying are listed on page 5. I'm not going to read through all that because I know that y'all can read, and it's not very fun for me to just look at a page and read it to people. So I'm not going to do that. But the biggest things that we want to communicate as leaders, or your role as a leader, is to show up. Whether it's physically, mentally, emotionally. I know we all have really hard days, and sometimes coming on a Wednesday night, I haven't done it yet, but you come on a Wednesday night and you're just drained. But we still want you to be all in when you're here. And it's not, I'm not saying that because I want you to ignore that day. I don't want you to ignore what you're feeling because your emotions are so valid and what you feel are important. And God gave us emotions, and so we need to feel those. But your kids are also feeling emotions, and we want you to be there for these kids because some of them don't have very many people that they can trust. And you showing up every single week, you are committing to these kids. They see you as a person, a safe person for them. And so that is something that we really just want to encourage you all to do. We love worship attendance, whether it's online, or whether you're here at the traditional service or the contemporary service. We want you to be worshiping every single Sunday, because when we get filled up, then we can go out and we can pour out into other people. And if we're not filling ourselves up, we get depleted, and then what we have to give to our students is very limited. And so we want to be emboldened by the Holy Spirit. We want to have a spirit of power and not a spirit of fear. And so we want you guys to be actively worshiping. We also want you to be actively praying. That's how we have our one-on-one relationship with Jesus. I was talking with a student yesterday, and we were just talking about our relationship with Jesus is like our relationship with anybody else here on earth, more so. But I say that to say that when you grow in a relationship with somebody else, it's because you're talking to them, you're getting to know them, you are wanting to spend time with them. And Jesus is no different. We want to be actively pursuing a relationship with Jesus. And if we're not doing that, like I said, we get depleted and we don't have as much to pour out to these kids. And we don't want to be depleted. Okay, I feel like I got on a little rant there. I love getting on rants, okay. We want you guys to be growing. I'm a firm believer that if you are comfortable, you're not growing as much as you can be. And so put yourself in uncomfortable situations when it comes to your relationship with Jesus. Do something different. Attend a contemporary worship service. If you're a traditionaler, that's okay. Push yourself. We want you to grow just like these kids are growing. We want them to see it in you as their leader. We want you to know that we are here for you. If there is an issue that arises, don't wait until the next week. Don't wait a month from now and just hope it gets better. We are here to support you. We want to be people that you can come to and say, hey, Bailey, hey, Alice, hey, Lynn, here's the deal, here's the situation. What can I do? Because I don't know what to do. We want to be those people because we love you and we appreciate you. And you guys are in the forefront. You guys are in the trenches. We don't get that luxury every single week to be in the trenches. And so you need support, and we want to be able to support you in any way we can.
All right, I'm going to talk about children's ministry. So I'm so excited to be teaching children's ministry this year on Wednesday nights. Before I came here, I was an elementary school teacher for 18 years, so this is like going home. So for children's ministry, we're going to be doing something called Epic Curriculum, and we're going to be focusing this first semester through December on, it's funny how, things happen and God's kind of played us along, but we're going to be talking about the armor of God in Psalm 23. So I can't think of better things that really we should be pouring into young kids right now, or some of those truths from Scripture. The off-week plan is going to look a little bit different. Getting the elementary school kids onto Zoom meetings was challenging during COVID time, when we shut down in March. So we're going to do something a little bit differently. On the off weeks, I'll be sending a video with some questions that they can do with their families. And on that second off week, like Bailey said, all children all the way through high school will be getting a video with a family devotion and some challenges on that. So we'll still stay connected, but it'll be a little bit differently. We probably won't join in classrooms like that. And I put volunteers still needed in this area. You know, I'm not worried about this because I know God will provide. He provided 2 great high schoolers today, James and Summer, and help out with children's ministry. So I appreciate you 2 stepping up. But at this time, I think we only have 2, am I right, Lynn? 2 children's ministry leaders, 3 maybe. So if you feel a love for little kids, younger kids like me and want to help join, or if you know of someone, you know, send them my way, because we're going to have a great year. I'm going to turn over to Cultivate and Anthem.
Yes, middle school. So as most of you know, we have split them up. So 5th graders are going to be a group, and 7th and 8th, or 5th and 6th graders are going to be a group. 7th and 8th graders are going to be a group. And to give them more of a sense of identity, I have these words pop into my head for each group. The first one for the 5th and 6th graders is cultivate. And the meaning of cultivate is just to develop and to foster the growth of. And so during these 2 years, we're really going to be, or this year specifically, we're going to be working on those Bible basics. Why it is, what is Christianity? What does it mean to be a Christian? And so this year, through our live, I always say live or live? Live. I think it's live. Live, I don't know. Live curriculum, that's what I'm going to call it. We are going to be going through the Old Testament and the New Testament, how things were 2,000 years ago and beyond, and how things are now, connecting that faith and life. We're going to be going over different topics about the image of God. There's a huge lesson on this, and there's so many different aspects that go into that. And we're also going to be studying the story of Exodus. That's a very, very big book of the Bible that few people didn't know, and so there's a lot of good nuggets in there. And so we're going to go over the story of Exodus, and we're also going to be talking about suffering in the spring. And I'm excited about this, not because I enjoy suffering by any means, but it's good to have that conversation started younger. I think we wait too long to talk about those hardships and really difficult things that kids struggle with. And so I'm really excited about that part of curriculum and being able to have healthy conversations about suffering.
And what's great about this curriculum too is it really is foundational, so that when we get them to 7th and 8th grade, when they start confirmation, they're going to be so much more prepared than they have been in the past. And so I'm just so excited about it.
I'm super excited. And so for 7th and 8th graders, their group, their little identity is Anthem. And I was looking ahead, I was talking to Lynn earlier, it's really cool because I was looking at the spring curriculum, and the last unit is called Anthem. And I did not know that before, that word. And so that was just another sign from the Lord that this was the perfect word. And so Anthem means a rousing or uplifting song identified with a particular group. And so during the 7th and 8th grade years, that's the confirmation age, right? We're building up to confirmation at the beginning of now 9th grade. Confirmation is not in May. It wasn't May, right?
It's going to be in October.
Now it's going to be in October, so they're going to have a little bit of time, that first part of their 9th grade year, to work on their faith statements before confirmation day, which is super cool. But during these 7th and 8th grade years, we're really going to be refining and why it is what they believe. And really letting people know, this is why I believe in Jesus. This is who Jesus is. This is why I believe in him. And so they're more equipped to go out and share the gospel. We want them to be disciples and be able to share about who Jesus is with everybody that they encounter. And so we're going to be going over catechism this fall. We're going to be talking about the Lord's Prayer and 10 Commandments. And then next spring, or in the spring, we're going to be focusing on the Trinity. And next year we'll go over some more, we'll go over the creeds and some other things. But some big things that we're going to be talking about in the Grow curriculum, which is similar to high school, is we're going to be talking about friendships. We're going to be talking about spiritual habits. We're going to be talking about loving other people. We're going to be talking about authority, because authority is a tricky thing, especially at that age. And we're going to be talking about, how we're deepening our own personal relationships with Jesus. We're going to be talking about God in the waiting, and we're going to be talking about worship. And so there is a lot of meat in both age groups, because middle school it's a crucial age. When you get them in middle school, they're more likely to continue in high school, and then they're from there.
Yeah, and that was we made with moving confirmation back to October is hoping that if they're working on their faith statements as their freshman year, they'll be in with the high school ministry, and the high schoolers, upperclassmen, will be able to mentor them and help them do their faith statements, and then they will already be dabbled into high school ministry, because middle school ministry confirmation is pivotal, and then once you hit high school, it's like the runway's right there in front of you. You gotta keep them going on that so that they'll be prepared for their next steps when they go to college. So the Edge will be Sundays this year from 4 to 6. We made that change for Wednesday nights because we just found that 7:30 to 9 time after middle school ministry was not long enough. There were many times last year that there was a lot of us leaders here until way later than that because the kids just wanted to hang out afterwards and talk. Or we found that they were doing homework because it was the middle of the week and they had responsibilities. We know that high school, you guys have a lot of responsibilities, don't you? Shake your heads, okay. So we are going to give it 2 hours on Sunday afternoons. We're going to do 4 to 6. The hope is after worship, you'll have time to still go home and have family time. Come back in the afternoon and then be home for dinner. So we are not going to serve meals. We're going to have like a snack buffet every week, so that'll be a little bit different for the high schoolers. But with that extra time, we're going to build in some hangout time where they can just talk with each other when they get there. Worship, I'm really excited about our worship band this year. Our leaders this year are going to be Aaron Berta and Dylan Davis, and they're going to be working with Jason and the worship band to just really get that off, and we have some great things planned for that. We'll do the large group time where we're covering the GROW curriculum as well. What's great about the GROW curriculum is they have these great ways to connect faith and life, which is exactly what we're trying to do, and then they, this year, have added middle school questions and high school questions, and I'm just really impressed with the curriculum. And the thing that we're going to be adding to it in high school is the mentoring and discipleship process along with that we want the high schoolers realizing that they can have big impact on the other parts of youth ministry, that they could come on Wednesday nights and mentor children's ministry kids, or they can be partnered with Cultivate and Anthem students to help them as they're developing that, and to get them out into the community and serving, as well as other areas within the church to be serving. So we'll do large group time with them, and then of course, small group time is always a favorite with the high school students. So we will make sure to have enough time to do that. So, like you said, you kind of stole my thunder with the curriculum, but yeah, it's gonna be great.
I got so
I don't know, you guys say
It's really excited. Okay, so part of all of the groups, we're going to have large group time and small group time. In the large group time, we're going to be starting with worship. Worship is important. We want to be worshiping our Lord and Savior. And so we want to cultivate, we want to develop a space where we are worshiping together. There's going to be some sort of large group activity. Some days it might be like way crazy, and y'all just got to go with me on it, and Alice on it, because sometimes I get these crazy ideas and crazy things in my head, and I need you people to help back me up and be super excited.
Don't give Bailey props, just so you know.
Yeah, don't give me props.
Don't give her props.
We'll try not to do props. Okay, so large group activity, and then there will be a teaching by either Alice or myself. We might pull other people in to come and do some large group teaching. And then we'll break into small groups, which Alice will talk about, and then there's also a virtual option for large groups.
And the virtual option is going to be through Right Now Media. So if you have not signed on to Right Now Media yet, as leaders, you're going to need that. So James and Summer, you have access to that. So we want to make sure you're on that. But that's where we're going to be posting the videos for the off weeks and connecting with some of the virtual students, as well as sending out the family weeks. So if you have not received that, you can shoot any of us an email and we will invite you. It is a wealth of, it's kind of like the Christian version of Netflix. Because it's got movies, it's got music, and it's got tons of really amazing Bible studies. And if you're like Bailey and Lynn and I, you have so many in your queue that you like, it's like Pinterest where you get anxiety from not doing all the pins that you have, you start to get anxiety about all the Bible studies you still need to do. So, and watch later this week, we're going to put together a video to send out to you to show you how to use Right Now Media. We're filming this, like I said, and it will be posted on here for trainings. And we'll also send some training videos on using Zoom and some games that you can use for those off weeks, just to give you a few more ideas. So small group time for children's ministry and middle school will be where we're having dinner. We still want to do some kind of a game, team building stuff. We're definitely going to have the small group discussion and really focusing on carving away time every week in small groups to just bond and build relationships, because that's just so key for them to see the relationships like Jesus would want us forming with other Christians. So yeah, just can't wait.
Yes, I can't wait either. So going to the next slide, we got some tough stuff in ministry, am I right? Ministry is not all rainbows and butterflies, unfortunately, because we're big people, and people are messy. And so, I will be the first one to admit that I'm a very messy person. So one of those things are just, we want to be faith-based. We want to just make kids think. We want them to connect with each other. We want them to be talking with you about what went on in their day. We want you to then ask them, okay, well, maybe you had a really terrible day, but where did you find goodness? Where did you see God's goodness today? Where did you find joy? How can we relate this back to our relationship with Jesus? And I think the big thing is we want to communicate with these students and just emphasize the importance that Scripture and God are right now. It's not forever ago. Like I've already mentioned this probably 3 times in the last half hour, but Jesus is right here, right now. God is living in and amongst us and through us. And so we want to be teaching the Bible. It talks about, it's either 1 Timothy or 2 Timothy. You seminarians can help me with that. But, what? Jesus. Just talking about, Scripture says that all Scripture is God-breathed, that all of the words in Scripture are straight from the Lord Himself. And so that's what we're going to be teaching. I don't want to be teaching on my own opinion, because then I am misleading and misguiding these students, and I'm giving myself the glory and not the creator of the universe. And I know I can speak for Allison with that. We don't want the glory. We don't want to be recognized for our gifts, but we want to be recognized for the gifts that God gave us. And we don't expect you to know everything. Fun fact. Because we don't know everything. If we knew everything, why would we need God, right? Because God is all-knowing, and we're not. And so you're going to be asked tough questions. There are some, I don't remember if they're in your binder or not, but you might. I mean, there are so many good resources out there, but it's okay to say, I don't know, but let me research that, and I will figure out that answer for you. Or let's do it together. That's even better. Do it with that student, so then that student knows how to get the answers to those questions.
Yeah, and in the binders, there are some really great websites. There's one called Guide Questions. It's over there. But it's, what? Last page. And it's all Bible-based questions. And there was lots of times in confirmation, Carrie and I can attest to that when we had our boys that we were getting that out. Because we're like, that is a super question, and we have no idea how to answer it. So we will find it out together. I also wanted to offer to all of you, I found this really great resource online. It's the New Testament and Old Testament blueprints, and basically if you've ever watched the Gospel Project on YouTube or whatever, where they give kind of an overview of the chapter. This gives like an overview, when it was written, what type of literature it is, and breaks it down. So if you think that this would be helpful, that you would like this resource, just send us an email. We didn't want to print all of this for all of you in case you were interested, but we'd be glad to share that information with you. Some other tough questions I addressed earlier is we are mandatory reporters, and unfortunately, working with middle schoolers and high school students, they are facing things that are very different than a lot of us faced when we were younger. And you're going to hear stories, and you're going to hear about them telling stories about their friends. And just know that if you hear something that makes you feel uncomfortable, even if you're not sure, please let Bailey, Lynn, or I know. We can investigate further, and we can help you through that process, whether they're reporting abuse or self-harm or concern for a friend. We really want to be able to walk through that with you as a leader and with the student and the family. And that's another one of those things. Don't wait and see if they bring it up again. Bring it to our attention right away. We have some great resources here that can help us with that. We spent some time at the end of COVID talking with high schoolers about mental health. I know Michelle's here. I don't know where she's at, but she is a social worker that helped us through that, and has kind of been agreed to kind of be there right along the side of us as we're doing that. And definitely with COVID and all this other stuff, there are definitely some things that we've all lived through trauma these last couple of weeks, and it's going to come out in ways we don't know necessarily how to deal with. So we're here to figure it out with all of you.
Yeah, and there is a page in your binder that kind of helps guide those conversations a little bit better. I think one thing I want to tag on to that is it's really important not to promise these kids they are not going to share what they're telling you. You want a safe space, but if it's something that's harming themselves or harming another person, you can't keep that to yourself. That's part of the whole mandatory reporting thing is we have to be able to communicate with the people we need to communicate with on the severity of the situation.
Yeah, one thing we'll urge you to do right away with your small groups is to come up with a covenant as a group, and that's something that I would really encourage leaders to do in a covenant when you talk to your group is say, you can tell us anything, but we just want you to know that if you're gonna tell us something that someone could get hurt or property could get hurt, that's something, like Bailey said, that we can't keep quiet and that we can help you walk through. So we're gonna talk a little bit about management.
Yeah, so management and relationship building is going to look a little bit differently this year, just because that's what our world is right now. And that's okay. We want kids to be in a place where they feel comfortable, where they feel safe. As you can see, I don't even have my shoes on right now. You might not notice, but I don't have my shoes on because I feel what?
You never have your shoes on.
You're right. I walk around the church without my shoes on almost all the time. It's because I feel comfortable, and we want kids to be able to build deep relationships, deep-rooted relationships with one another and with you as their leader. But we also expect, we don't want them to be on their phones. They're glued to their phones literally all the time anyway, and they can put it away for an hour and a half or two while they're here. And so we just want to encourage you that it's okay to tell them to put their phones away. You middle schoolers for sure are going to be getting bins. If it's an issue, just tell them to put their phone in the bin. They can have it at the end. I just thought of that on my feet. And we don't want them to be super horsing around, having distraction within the group. If they are being super disruptive, it's okay I'm giving middle school leaders permission to pull out your phone, shoot me a text, and I will come to your rescue, okay? But that's the other cool part. If you have a co-leader, you can have somebody that is kind of, helping rally the situation with that one student, and while the other one is kind of leading the rest of the group. That's the beautiful part about working on a team.
That's right.
And, relationships are, in my mind, number two. Jesus is number one important, but relationships are number two. That's how we get kids to stay here. That's how we get them to keep coming back, is that they feel known, they feel seen, they feel valued, they feel important to you and to the group. And so I'm all about inclusion. I know Alice and Len are the same way. I'm just speaking for both of you, but we're all about it. Yeah, let's go in like this. But yeah, we just want the kids to feel like they're welcome here.
Yeah, I think a great rule to have is you don't have the right to steal time with Jesus from the other people in the group. So if you start to behave in a way that they can't stay connected to Jesus in that moment, then we're pushing it too far. And who's going to argue with Jesus? You can argue with us, but if you say you're taking Jesus away, hopefully, maybe it'll work. All right. So we want to open it up for a little bit of questions that you might have or things that we have forgot. I can tell you that before we came up with that calendar you saw, I think we had like 10 plans that we've changed. We've changed it, and yesterday we were like, wait, we don't understand this ourselves, and we had to draw it out. So if you have questions that would benefit the whole, all of youth ministry leaders right now will have you ask that. Otherwise, in a few minutes, like I said, I'm going to take children's ministry and high school downstairs, and Bailey will keep middle school up here. But yeah, we just wanted to pause for a minute. We've been talking at you for a long time, and see if there's something we forgot. Yes, I think that's Tracy back there. Yes. Oh, I'm so glad you asked that question, because Jim came to our rescue this week and put in some more routers downstairs, because that's what we were really worried about. We've been able to use Wi-Fi downstairs all week.
No problem.
No problems. Even our phones, which usually if we come up to use the restroom or something, our phone goes because we don't get any updates. So hopefully that is fixed. We will have a couple of computers and iPads for you to take to small group with you. So if you have, let's say you have two of your kids that went to the same school and they're on quarantine, but they want to join, they could watch the virtual thing that's going on in large group, and then when you got to small group, as that small group leader, you could pull up Zoom or FaceTime and include them in. That would be our hope, that you'd be able to do that. So yeah, we would encourage you, if you have a laptop or a Kindle or an iPad or something, to bring it, but we will try to have extras available so that we can do that.
And it would be helpful too if you all and all your friends that have kids coming here is to let us know when someone's not coming, so that we can be adequately prepared to give you a laptop or give you an iPad, and then we can get a Zoom link out ahead of time so your group and that student or students have access to that.
Yeah, and if that's something you feel comfortable setting up too, we would love to have you do it on your own, or show you how to do it. That's right. Yes, Tricia. When we do larger group stuff like these virtual weeks where we're gonna be on more than, for small group time, you normally need 30 to 45 minutes. That free version from Zoom, anybody can do Zoom for free for that. For the ones like when we're doing virtual, we have the extended plan where we can do breakout rooms and all that kind of stuff. So these first 2 virtual weeks, for example, with me doing first and second grade, when it goes to small group time, I will make breakout rooms. So first grade will be together and second grade will be together, probably the same for 5th and 6th and 7th and 8th those weeks. So we will launch those meetings and then assign hosts and breakout rooms. So, and that would be great. And like I said, we'll send out some training videos and we can figure all of that out if you just kind of let us know. Great questions. We're going to learn together. So we just ask for a lot of grace and patience this year from us because we're definitely just trying to think of any possible scenario that could happen and 3 ways we could fix it. But I'm sure something's going to come up that we're not expecting. And as much as technology is working great right now, we can have all this kind of stuff ready to go and walk out there and come back and it doesn't work anymore. So we're just going to try to do our best, but just ask you all to be flexible. And we would really love feedback as we're going through this. If we do the first couple of weeks and you think this is just not working, please tell us. Because, we'll see how large group is going, but like you said, you guys are in small groups, and if it's not working, or if you have ideas or suggestions, there's probably a lot of things we haven't thought about. We just really want you to know it's safe to come to us and say, this is stupid, we need to do it this way, or we'd also love to hear if you think it's going great, because we really are trying to find the best, it's just not a great way to learn, but we're going to do our best. Yes, no, please.
So our, the virtual days or whatever, on the off weeks, can we do that here, like the teacher come here and do it, just thinking of nursery, everyone else has nursery?
Yeah, if you need access to the nursery, we can always find you a space. Just let us know. On night A or group A, when it's first and second and 5th and 6th, there's not nearly as many people here, so we'll have a lot more availability. There's more groups of 7th and 8th graders, but we're gonna have a map and figure that out. So yeah, just kind of let us know what your plan is, and we'll make it work. Yeah, the nursery will be available on Wednesday night.